the U.S. responsible for demonstrators hitting the streets in Russian cities, protesting fraud in last weekend's parliamentary election? Prime Minister Vladimir Putin says so. He slammed Secretary of State Clinton for her comments that the balloting was rigged.
We've just witnessed a flawed Duma election in Russia, including efforts to halt the election monitoring.
Putin told a meeting Clinton's words galvanized his opponents.
Straight away, the Secretary of State assessed the elections as dishonest and unfair, even though she hadn't even received the observers' material. She set the tone for some of our personalities inside the country and gave them a signal. And they heard this signal, and with the support from the State Department, started active work.
Speaking after 3 straight nights of protests in Moscow and St. Petersburg, despite heavy police presence, Putin also warned of a wider crackdown on dissent.
Law enforcement bodies should also exercise their function with reliance on the broad support of the public.
So far, unhappiness in Russia over the elections hasn't generated the mass rallies that preceded the sudden fall of the Soviet Union 2 decades ago. But Gennady Burbulis, advisor to former President Boris Yeltsin, isn't ruling out something equally dramatic happening again.
On the one hand, there is a political regime which, regrettably, believes that it is right in all ways, which is a silly delusion and a mistake. On the other hand, there are normal and clever people who are no longer willing to put up with the situation.
Security forces may well need to gear up further. A map circulating on the internet shows protests planned for Saturday in Moscow and scores of other cities across the country. Karen Sloan, The Associated Press.